Julia McMurray. As a freshman here at Juniata, I can still clearly imagine a time when my home mailbox was filled with glossy college promotionals. Do you remember those? Practically identical, except for the name of the school in question, each seemed to promise a bright future, boasting students wearing broad grins, sauntering down brick walkways, backpacks slung casually over their shoulders. But after sorting through the pile of pamphlets, we all eventually landed here in Huntingdon. Why? Juniata's professors are brilliant. Our campus is beautiful, and the food is, well, baker. But none of these factors were what cemented my decision to enroll. Quite simply, I'm here at Juniata because I can afford to be. You see, like over 98% of the students in this room, I received financial aid. Juniata is distinctive because, for all we can offer, we are a great bargain. However, if Juniata wants to remain attractive to students in the future, we must reaffirm how we can remain as affordable as we are rigorous, and we can do so by asking these questions. First, what students does Juniata value? Second, how are Juniata students currently faring financially? And finally, what can we do to ensure that students, as well as our institution, has financial success in the future? Whig politician Horace Mann once remarked, "Education, then, beyond all other devices of human origin, is the great equalizer of the conditions of men." Education, an equalizer. Now, this statement rings as true today as it did 2 centuries ago. In a millennium fraught with Wall Street meltdowns and a growing sense of income inequality and a globalized job market, education can be the tool that propels a lower income student into higher economic echelons. This is especially true at small liberal arts schools like Juniata, which often offer the richest educations, exercising students' minds and preparing them for a variety of careers. However, at these elite institutions, tuition costs can prove prohibitive. To gain access to education, that so-called great equalizer, means to already have some measure of equality in the form of cold, hard cash. Not everyone is so lucky. Traditionally, Juniata has prided itself on serving those whose luck may not be the best. The eager freshman who's first in her family to attend college, or the dedicated transfer student who doesn't have a fortune saved. But that may be changing. So, how are Juniata students doing financially these days? Currently, almost every student to set foot on campus receives some money from the college, funded by generous alumni who clearly love Juniata as much as you and I do. And this sounds incredible, until you consider that Juniata only meets full demonstrated need in 25% of cases. 3 out of 4 students will receive grant money below the sum they need, perhaps well below, and have to fill in the rest privately or through work study and loans. This last funding method is particularly problematic. Although our tagline calls us, by any measure, one of the best liberal arts colleges, and we are, that claim doesn't hold true when we use the yardstick of debt. You see, when it comes to debt, we measure just average. Just average in a country with the highest student debt in the world. At graduation, a Juniata student can expect to owe over $33,000 in loans, and by the time my class graduates, that number will be even higher. Now, this is not to say that our college is stingy. Far from it. Juniata consistently makes it onto Kiplinger's best values list, which has bolstered our status as a nationally ranked liberal arts college and given us a level of distinction among our peer institutions, who are often less generous with their endowments. But still, we don't do enough. In discussing debt, we assume a student is in a position to make it onto campus in the first place, and oftentimes this is not the case. For many students from low-income backgrounds, even after all available funding options are exhausted, it is still impossible to pay what is asked of them. According to Juniata's financial aid estimating tool, even a prospective Juniatian living below the federal poverty line would still be expected to contribute almost $12 grand a year out of pocket towards tuition, room, and board. Comparatively, Juniata's highest merit scholarship, meant to attract the best and the brightest, is valued at $24,000 a year. Some might argue that without such enticing awards, our academic profile would suffer, but I encourage them to look towards Williams, the country's top-ranked liberal arts college. Unlike Juniata, Williams has the luxury of a 10-figure endowment. Even so, its commitment to meet 100% of demonstrated student need can serve as an example to our institution. Many of the most prestigious colleges in the country have adopted a policy of grants only for needing students because they understand that graduating with too much debt can be detrimental. Not only that, but failing to get students from all economic backgrounds onto campus detracts from diversity, a value Juniata claims so strongly to espouse. So, what can we do? Changing our aid model won't be easy, nor will it happen overnight. I know I sound idealistic, and I would be naive to ignore the constraints a $95 million endowment poses. But I don't claim to have all the answers. I do have some ideas. Just as Abigail Adams asked her statesman husband to remember the ladies, I plead that the Master Plan Committee, in crafting our next 20-year plan, remembers the students and their financial well-being. This may mean allowing freshmen to opt out of meal and housing plans as early as second semester, increasing their financial flexibility. It may mean reducing the value of some merit scholarships, or capping them for a few years, and instead diverting that money towards those who are most in need. Above all, it will mean demonstrating to donors and trustees that helping poorer students is not just good business, but ethical leadership, and it will keep Juniata relevant through the 21st century. Of course, we should re-examine our POE system and grapple with divestment and teach better writing. But we can do none of these things if we cease to exist as an institution. I am glad to be here. I hope you are too. But depending on your financial situation, you may be having second thoughts. So let Juniata not contribute to more student debt or crowd out those who need an educational advantage the most. Let us be, among a sea of glossy college promotionals, distinctive as an amazing bargain, successful as a learning environment, a great equalizer.